Well, well, well. I see you have come for guidance, advice, knowledge. Well, you've come to the right place. You see, I know why you're here. You tried a few other guides, maybe even some tips and tricks videos, but they didn't help you to become the true Fortnite master that you deserve to be. And I know why. These guides are just not on your level. You don't need to know how to build a wall or aim down sight. Nah. You know these things. You need the pro tips. The tips for only the best of the best. The creme de la creme. And I am here to give you those tips. So without further ado, let's start. The most important thing to do, and also our main focus for this course, is to be dominant. Now I hear you thinking, but hey, I'm already dominant. I try to win every fight and I improve wherever I can. Wrong! Dominance is not about trying, it's about doing. You have to be dominant. You have to have dominant for breakfast, lunch and dinner. So let's start at the beginning. Most people will think the game starts when you choose your landing spot. But no, the game starts right here, in the pre-game lobby. This is where you can play your mind games, where you can manipulate the enemy. Some of you will think that cranking 90s or editing really fast will be the best way to establish dominance. But no. The best way to establish dominance early on is to demoralize the enemy. You see someone building? Knock that shit down. Take the L on them. Be as toxic as you can be. See someone running for a gun? Grab that shit and empty the whole magazine. See someone doing emotes? Box that man in. Ain't nobody wanna see that. By doing all this, the enemy will get frustrated, and that is what you want. You want to capitalize on that. Which takes us to the next important step. You need a good landing spot. Let's just get straight into it. As far as you should be concerned, this whole part of the map is non-existent. You need to land in a crowded part of the map. You need to show dominance to as many people as possible. For instance, you land here in this quiet town, who's gonna notice you? No one. You can try to be dominant on your own, but let's be real, that's just sad. So you need to land in a busy town. First thing you wanna do when dropping down is ruin someone's game as soon as possible. This means if you see someone landing in a roof or anything like that, just land on them and pickaxe them like the scum they are. After you have found your first victim, you can now continue to establish dominance on the rest of the town. It is completely up to you how you want to do this, just remember to have fun while you're at it. Now, when you're done with that, there is of course an off chance that someone is man enough to face you in the wild. Which takes us to the mid game. Let's look at this first example. You're minding your own business and out of nowhere, BAM! Enemy spots you. Now there's two things you can do. The first thing you'll probably think is build. But that's not the way of a dominant person. That's not who we are. So instead of sheltering from your problems, you should face your problems like the man you are and just unload every available magazine and every gun you have on them. That's how you show dominance. The enemy will simply panic because they have not faced dominance of this proportion before. And that's where you finish the job and put them out of their misery. However, there is always a chance you do come in a build battle of some sort, which I would not recommend in any way, shape or form, but when you're in one, you need to know how to be dominant in it. The first rule of build battling is never take a shot during it. That's just not dominant. As a true dominant person that you are, you need to play with your food before eating it. So just build your opponent in and play with him. Make him feel like he has a chance of living. Then after a few hours you get bored and it's time to finish his suffering. There are a couple of ways of doing this. The first approach is to let him die in the storm. This is a very good and dominant way of letting your opponent know that you're not here to fuck around. Just keep the victim built in and wait for it to slowly suffocate in his own disgrace. Then when he's dead you grab his remains and proceed with your day. The second, and in my opinion the most dominant way, is to stare your opponent to death. This is kinda hard to pull off and will require the absolute highest level of dominance. The way to do this is get in a build battle with a victim and build as high as you can. And because you are so dominant, the other player will of course follow you as you are the natural leader. When you get at a high enough point, build Doritos everywhere and go down as fast as possible, while leaving your opponent in a cloud of misdirection. Then when you get down, just get rid of the base of the structure. When you have done this, you can simply stand still and watch the opponent fall. Make sure you make enough eye contact during the fall to establish even more dominance in the last few seconds of his life. Trust me, this is important. For the last piece of advice, you need to know how to win games. I don't mean you need a tutorial on how to win games, but more in the way you should be winning games. You can obviously do one of the two ways I just discussed, but for the final enemy you want something special. Something that will haunt him for the rest of his life. The way you want to do this is not doing anything actually. By this point of the game you have shown your dominance, people in the lobby know who they're dealing with, so all you need to do is just sit somewhere in the last circle, then the last players will feel your dominance and most likely will just kill themselves. And that is how you win games as a dominant man.